Good day. How's it going? Okay, boy, like I don't know what's going on. Why the letters didn't come up?
The letters?
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
Okay. Good day. Welcome to the Great White North.
So today we are going to work on Canadian large cents, and this is just going to be a short overview of some of the Canadian large cents, as I don't have all the things that I would like to do. But in the near future, my goal is to be able to do a small series on the different ones that you can collect and get. There's going to be 3 different monarchs throughout the Canadian large cent history. The Canadian large cent also stopped in the middle of one monarch's reign, and then turned over and went to the small cent, which is what they're just, I believe, a hair bigger than the American penny. So what I have right here, this is an 1876. Now this is going to be the first Canadian large cent that has a mint mark. And yes, this one is hard to see, but right here, that is an H, which is for Birmingham, UK, I want to say, if I have that properly. There are 2 years that were done for Queen Victoria before the 1876, which was 1858 and 1859. Now, those 2 years were both done with Queen Victoria, where she had a laurel wreath on her head. This was the first year they had stopped for 15 years. So 1860 to 1875, no large cents were made. Then they restarted in 1876. Which at that point in time is when Queen Victoria was adorned with the crown, at least on the Canadian large cent. I don't know about the years on pennies and, or not pennies, nickels and dimes and things like that. So there is quite a history that goes with the Canadian coinage, because before this point in time, Canada was considered a province, which meant that they were under the absolute rule of the UK. They were not their own quote-unquote country, as they kind of are now. I'm not exactly sure how all that governmental stuff works, but I do know that little bit of it. And so, yeah, 1876 then to 1900 is where you're going to find all of your Queen Victorias. So 2 years, 1858 and 59. There was a long 15-year break, and then 1876 to 19. King Edward the 7th, I want to say. Yep, right there. See that? So then we have King Edward the 7th. Now, in 1901 started his reign and his coinage, and his bust faced to the right, and he has the crown, and his bust and coins basically look pretty much the same throughout his reign, and his reign goes until 1910. From 1910, he passed away, and that is when King George V took over. And his coinage starts in 1911 and goes all the way until 1936. Now, the cool thing about him is that and he looks so stoic. But in 1920, which this one is a 1920, whoops, this is a 1920 large cent. And then in 1920 is when they changed it to the small cent. Let's see if I can find it. And this would be the Canadian small cent. So there's quite a difference in size, and I know my camera can't fit them both in the frame, but then from 1920 until 1936 is the remainder of his reign, and then from 36 to I don't remember when Elizabeth took over. Excuse me, but that is in 36 is when the whole drama and craziness of King Edward VIII happened, and the abdication, and when he abdicated from the throne, and King George VI ended up taking over. So it is a pretty impressive history. It is obviously, it's going to be some British and UK history. But the beginning parts of it and how this money came to be, how the Canadian decimal, I think that's how you say it, like the decimal money follows the United States money, and Britain was not very keen on that. They did not want Canada following our money. They probably were just a hair salty still back then, is my guess. I don't know for sure, but you know, they wanted Canada to be on the pence and the farthings and pound and that, and Canada was looking towards following our system of penny, nickel, dime, quarter, etc., etc. And however they managed that is how they managed it, and they got it done. So good for you, Canada. Yeah. So that's just kind of a quick little overview of, you know, the Canadian large cents. There's a lot of varieties. There's a lot of errors. I only have 5 Queen Victoria large cents right now, and the weights of them, very pretty good, and it's not like a whole gram worth of, you know, something that would make me scratch my head and go, I don't think this is quite right. But you know, not everything was as precise as things can be nowadays. So there's, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff you can find in these, and some, especially the Victorias, are, you know, you find the right one, and that's a nice little payday if you get it right. So it is something, if you're, you know, even remotely interested, to really start looking into and studying. I started with just American coins. I still love my American coins, and I still check my change all the time. I do buy boxes of pennies when I, you know, get a chance. Hubby saves his change from off the road, but there is just something about these Canadian coins that really grabbed my attention, and it probably, some of it is the history, being that I grew up so close to Canada. Canada holds a little place in my heart. Hockey night, Saturday night hockey night on CBC, and watching Red Green and stuff like that. So that is all that I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If I did boo-boo up something and say something wrong, let me know. I hope I got it all right. And yeah, hopefully here within the next week or two, I will be able to do a little more in-depth. I'm not sure if I'm going to go year by year, or if I am going to just kind of do like a Queen Victoria and then a King Edward and a King George. But we'll figure it out as we go, and maybe we'll do just the 3, and then maybe we'll get even more in depth on specific dates and key dates and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I will talk to y'all later.